1. One night while moving the garden waste cans out to the street, I felt a mild pinch in my belly. Didn't think anything of it at the time, figuring I had been poked by a sharp branch or something. Looking at it later that night, it was slightly swollen and a bit tender, with 2 tiny dots in the middle of the swelling. I thought, how funny, that looks like a spider bite, and washed it with an alcohol pad and went to sleep. I was awakened the next morning by absolutely searing pain in the spot where I'd been bitten. Easily 7 out of 10, as bad as a broken wrist. If anything, the spot was less swollen than the night before. Okay, so that clearly was a spider bite, and there's only 2 spiders that live in my area with a serious bite. Black and brown widow spiders. A quick check with Dr. Google, and I checked off most of the symptoms associated with widow spider envenomation. Slight swelling, severe pain at the bite side, muscle cramps, a sense of impending doom. Seriously. But fortunately, no trouble breathing, so not that bad, right? The same article said that symptoms typically went away in a couple of days to a few weeks, depending on the level of venom exposure. I confirmed that they only gave anti-venom to severe, life-threatening reactions to spider bites, and that's clearly not what this is, so I popped a few Tylenol and went to work. Every 4 to 6 hours for the next several weeks I would take another dose of Tylenol. I was not able to sleep for more than 4 or 5 hours at a time, because as soon as the Tylenol wore off, the pain would immediately wake me up. The cramps eventually spread in a band all the way around my torso, leading to some unpleasant digestive issues, and horrible back pain. Every day, it seemed like things were getting a bit better, so I put off going to the doctor because they weren't going to give me anything to treat the venom, so I may as well just ride out the pain. Okay, sure, but as a doctor friend of mine reminded me halfway through this, they do have medication specifically to reduce muscle spasms and better painkillers than what you can get over the counter. I might have been comfortable at least, instead of walking around in a fog of pain for several weeks. My back is still a bit messed up from all the spasming. 2. My family took me to the circus. Big deal at the time. We didn't go to many events like that. I remember the smells, popcorn, animals, sugar. The lights were wild, the music was loud, and everything felt kind of overwhelming but exciting. At some point during the show, I leaned over and told my mom I didn't feel good. She barely looked at me and said something like, "You've had too much junk. Sit back and enjoy the show." About 10 seconds later, I unleashed a projectile vomit so violent it hit the back of my little brother's head, and then splashed across several people sitting in front of us. I threw up again, then again. I basically turned into a geyser of regret. People started screaming, jumping up, trying to dodge the splash zone. I just kept going. Then the real chaos started. The people I hit scrambled out of their seats so fast that others nearby assumed something awful was happening. They jumped up too. It spread like a ripple. Within seconds, people all across the arena were on their feet, panicking, heading toward the exits. It honestly looked like someone had pulled a fire alarm or yelled, "Gun!" But nope, just me, and a stomach full of circus snacks. Meanwhile, my mom was trying to cut through the chaos and get my brother and me to the bathroom. He was drenched. I was still vomiting. Everything was loud and blurry, and I remember sitting there feeling both stunned and completely empty, like I was in the eye of some horrible storm I caused. The car ride home wasn't much better. I kept throwing up in a McDonald's paper bag until the bottom gave out and it dumped onto my lap. My aunt, who was visiting from out of state, just looked over and said, "Glad it's not my rental," and rolled down the window. That was pretty much the only thing anyone said the whole ride. By the time we got home, my brother and I were both soaked in puke and reeked like sour milk and cotton candy death. To this day, circus, Disney on Ice, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, even David Copperfield, I get sick every single time. Even if I prep for it, even if I feel fine before, something about live shows just triggers it. The lights, the sounds, the crowd. I don't know. I've always wondered why it happens and why it's so violent. Maybe it's just some strange psychosomatic trauma response. Either way, this was the first in a long history of public puking incidents I'd really rather forget. But here we are. 3. I've decided to share because I honestly think this story could save someone's life. I had heard about Phenibut online, a relaxing supplement, good for anxiety, social confidence, and even enhancing your mood. With zero prior experience and no real understanding of how powerful and slow acting it is, I made a life-threatening mistake. I started cautiously enough, taking about 750 milligrams. 1/4 a teaspoon. 2 hours later, feeling nothing, I naively thought, hey, maybe it's weak, so I took another full teaspoon. Another hour passed, still no effects, so I took another teaspoon. By the end of the evening, I'd had roughly 15 grams. To give some context, 6 grams of Phenibut is considered potentially lethal. Taking 15 grams was unimaginably reckless. The nightmare begins. I don't even remember falling asleep. The next morning, I woke up confused, disoriented, with stuff scattered around my room. I realized with horror I had been in a complete dissociative blackout, moving around and interacting with things, yet completely unconscious mentally. Then came the true horror, extreme panic attacks lasting continuously for days, feeling like permanent brain damage had occurred. Severe depression that was crushing and felt completely hopeless. Parasomnia. Every smell became a repulsive chemical stench, making eating impossible. Constant skin tingling, feeling like electric currents running through me. Visual distortions, subtle but disturbing, like shadows and patterns shifting slightly around me. I barely slept more than 4 hours each night, and falling asleep was incredibly difficult. Yet when I did sleep, I had hyper-realistic vivid dreams, movie-like scenarios with full plots, dialogues, and incredibly detailed visuals. It felt as if I was living through elaborate, unsettling films every night. The hospital visit and doctor's reaction. On day 3, terrified that I'd permanently destroyed my mind, I went to the hospital for help. When I told the doctor I'd taken 15 grams of Phenibut, he straight up didn't believe me. That's impossible, he said. You would be in a coma or dead. No treatment, no tests, just disbelief. I left feeling more alone and scared than ever. Later that day, I started feeling intensely cold internally, an odd chill that I couldn't shake. After some research, I found out this could actually be a sign my GABA receptors were finally healing. A weird moment of relief amidst absolute horror. Miraculous recovery. Amazingly, by day 4, I began returning to normal. My symptoms vanished physically and mentally. I was somehow okay. To this day, I don't understand how I survived without permanent damage or death. Why I'm sharing this. I was incredibly lucky. Most people don't recover from such extreme doses without serious consequences. Phenibut is dangerously potent and easily misunderstood due to its slow onset and high overdose potential. If you're ever tempted to try Phenibut or something similar, start extremely low, 250 milligrams or less. Wait several hours before redosing. It can take between 3 and 5 hours to fully hit. Always use precise measurements, never eyeball doses. I truly hope this story might prevent one person from experiencing the horror I endured. Please stay safe. 4. First off, before anyone listens to my story, I just want to say Hell's Itch is not a normal sunburn itch. It's some sort of nerve reaction. For those who think I'm exaggerating how debilitating it is, check out the subreddit r/hellsitch and read some user testimonials. Here's one from 2 days ago. I've experienced acute heroin withdrawal with no medication, cold turkey, as well as a kidney stone that was too big to treat ultrasonically. Those were like a stubbed toe compared to this. Anyway, here's the screw up. Several years ago, I went to the beach for a few hours and, like an idiot, didn't put sunscreen on. I ended up getting a sunburn in my upper body. The next evening, I was chilling on the couch watching TV after taking a shower when I suddenly felt a slight tickle on my chest. Not really thinking anything of it, I just brushed my hand across my chest, thinking it was a hair or something. About a minute later, the feeling came back suddenly and sharply. This time, though, it was more tingly and itchy. I scratched the itch, thinking it's just the sunburn itching, and it went away. Probably about 10 seconds later, it came back, fiercely. The tingly itch was so strong my hand literally automatically jolted up to my chest to scratch it. Like my brain forced it to. I was like, huh? This didn't feel like a normal sunburn itch. It felt deep in my skin. Have you ever got a random itch on the bottom of your foot or palm of your hand and it feels like it's an inch under your skin and you can't seem to scratch it? That's what it felt like. I examined myself with a flashlight thinking a bug or something bit me, but nothing was there. Within the next few minutes, this tiny spot in my chest had started spreading to my entire chest and shoulders. It would itch fiercely, and felt like ants with razor blades as feet were under my skin. At this point, I started to panic and went to go put some aloe on it, hoping it would soothe it. Big effing mistake. This amplified the itch twofold and significantly increased the pain. I was on the verge of tears. None of this made any sense. Aloe was supposed to help sunburns and soothe them. By this time, it had been maybe 10 minutes since this started, and little did I know a journey to the depths of hell was just beginning. I frantically started Googling things like extremely itchy sunburn, how to relieve, and quickly discovered something called Hell's Itch, or Suicide Itch. I did some reading and found out that this is not a typical sunburn itch, it is something completely different and significantly worse. It occurs about 48 hours after a sunburn, and the itch usually begins after taking a shower. Things that typically help relieve symptoms of a sunburn, such as aloe or cream, do the polar opposite and make the symptoms much worse, while things that normally make a sunburn hurt worse, such as a hot shower, help relieve the itch. So here I was standing in a boiling hot shower, and it was helping. Once the hot water ran out, I got out and started absolutely tweaking. The itch was so bad that my brain literally forced my arms to reach up and scratch it. It was uncontrollably at this point, and I was just pacing around, tweaking out and itching. I could barely stand, it was so bad. This went on all night and all next day until the following morning. I didn't sleep at all. I had to camp out on the couch so I wouldn't keep my fiancée up all night too, because I literally could not sit still and was just crying and itching from the pain. It was so bad that I would rather relive breaking both my legs during an accident I had as a teenager than deal with this hell on earth ever again. 5. So today, me, a 20-year-old male, and my girlfriend, also 20, wanted to go to the local fun fair. For context, I study biology in a school that costs $5,000 a year. So I must work every weekend for 12 hours to pay for it. Here is the FU. After spending €10 for a ride, we were about to leave, but on the way we saw a place where you could win a lot of expensive electronic stuff. PS5, Xbox, iPad, iPhone 16 Pro Max, etc. To get one of them, you have to fill up a big red circle with 6 little metallic discs. We can only use one disc at a time, and if it was placed, we couldn't move it. As we approached, Tim, I don't know his actual name, saw us and tempted us to give it a shot. After talking a bit, he showed me how to do it. He did it so easily, and in a matter of seconds I couldn't believe it. How is this not a scam? It's not like an automatic grabbing machine, but just a circle and 6 discs. It's definitely a scam. Because it was not the weekend, today we are Friday, he gave me an offer, 3 tries for €100 instead of 250. And if I won, he would give me 2 prizes instead of 1. So I gave it a shot. I failed. I tried again without thinking much. He was so convincing. He seemed honest and genuinely eager to see us win. He told us that he only makes money when someone wins. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. Anyway, I failed again. Every time we tried, he showed us how to do it, and he explained thoroughly all my mistakes, but I guess the pressure was too strong for me to handle. After them, he gave us another offer, 400 euros for one single try, but he placed correctly 3 of the 6 discs. After it, I think I should have stopped right here and gone away. We talked for about 10 minutes and he convinced me to do it. On a side note, my girlfriend is really shy, but she told me that it was worth the shot, so I tried, and guess what? Yeah, I failed again. Now at this point, I only lost like 610 euros. What are those 400? The same thing. How did he convince me? He told us that he would pay us back our 2 tries for $400 each if I won the next round. He even let me try for free, and I actually did it. He also explained to me my mistakes. So I tried, and yes, hoping to win a PS5, an iPhone 16, and getting my 800 euros back. When I paid the amount, it was like earth falling on my shoulders. I couldn't handle it, and made the same mistake again by placing the most important disc an inch too high, making it impossible to accomplish. I was devastated, and so was my girlfriend, because she thought it was her fault. I'm the type of person that tends to just brush off things like that and forget it and not become crazy. It helps a lot. Internally, I'm crying, and I'll go to work tomorrow, knowing that for April I earned 1,017 euros. And now it's like I worked a whole month for nothing. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Embarrassing Stories 118. And thank you very much to everyone who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, please do subscribe and hit the like button if you'd be so good. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can do that by signing up for my Patreon page. Just $1 a month minimum. You can support more if you wish. And as a thank you for your support there, you get access to all the videos at once on a Monday. Okay, I think that's all the business today, so let's move on to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is kind of sort of inspired by the last story there, thinking of carnivals and things they have there. You know, you get the cotton candy machines, you get the slush machines and all that sort of thing. Has anyone ever been tempted to buy one of those for home use? Because you can get them, and they do work. I would really like to get a slush machine, and I discovered they're not actually that expensive. But I also feel like I'd maybe use it for a few weeks at most, and then it would just get put in a cupboard somewhere, so it'd ultimately just be a waste. Let me know what you think. If you either have purchased something like that, if you're considering it or would like to, or if, like me, you realize it probably wouldn't get much use, leave your answer in a comment below. And before we go, let's take a look at the answer of the day from a previous video. This one comes from Embarrassing Stories 117, and it was Hair Disasters Stories. And today's answer comes from Jada Dallas. Permed mullet when I was 9. It was 1990. I was looking very achy-breaky hard before I ever saw the music video. Thank you very much for your answer, Jada Dallas. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.